Hello, and welcome to the Rise Up Buttercup Podcast, where we have one mission: to empower women across the world.
And I'm saying no way, I'm going my own way, and you can't stop me, 'cause I'm loving myself, oh no way, this is my own way, and you can't stop me, 'cause I'm loving myself.
Hello, my friend. Welcome to another episode of the Rise Up Buttercup Podcast. If you're new here, my name's Amy Gerhartz. I am a coach. I'm also your host for the podcast. And if you're someone who is struggling with constantly feeling rushed, constantly feeling overwhelmed, going from one thing to the next, back to back to back, then I want you to know that today's episode is going to be for you, because we're going to discuss how we can intentionally start to slow down and stay present in our lives. Now, here's the thing. I am guilty of this so much. In fact, I'm someone who has struggled for years with constantly going from one thing to the next. I have a little bit of this overachiever mentality that I have adopted over the years. And mainly it's because I think I really just enjoy life. I enjoy living. I enjoy doing things for myself, for the people around me. And I love growing my business. I love being someone who's constantly learning and developing and growing. The unfortunate part or a side of this is that because I'm so passionate about my life and the things that I do, and because I constantly want to achieve things, I find myself very frequently getting into this space of doing, where I'm doing this, and then I'm doing that, and then I'm doing that, and then I'm doing that, and then I'm doing that. And what I have found for me, and I'm sure that if you're listening to this, maybe potentially you've experienced this too, is that when I get into this state of constantly doing, I start to forget who I am being, and I start to have these elevated levels of stress and anxiety that come along with my tasks, because it starts very innocently, right? I'm just going to do this and then this, and I'm going to feel grounded. I'm going to stay present. And then I get another email, and then I get another request, and then this comes in, and then I've got this family event, and then this happens. And you name it. It could be any number of things, but I have all these things that start filling up on my plate, and I feel this need that I need to rush through them and get them all completed to lower my to-do list, to lower the things that I'm carrying on my plate, right? To get out of the weeds, so to say. So what ends up happening is I find myself thinking that I'm accomplishing things faster, and in reality, I'm just stressing myself out. And it's interesting because if you're someone who finds yourself also stressing and feeling anxiety and constantly moving without taking any rests, medical experts have shown that long-term negative effects of high stress levels and high anxiety levels can lead to things such as fatigue and sleep problems and cardiovascular disease, high blood pressure, obesity. And these are all things that I don't know about you, I don't want to experience in my life. I don't want to experience having to go into the hospital because I haven't taken the intentional effort and time to slow myself down. So today, I want to teach you some tools that I've implemented into my life, that I've used with my clients, that I think are tremendously going to support you in making that intentional effort to slow down. So let's dive in, because I don't want you to end up in the hospital either. So let's dive into some tools that I think are really going to help you. The first thing to do is honestly just admit that you're the type of person that is bouncing around and moving too quickly. We cannot fix things if we don't have an awareness that we're actually doing them in the first place. So if you find yourself moving from one task to the next, having that never-ending to-do list, feeling like you're constantly stressed and overwhelmed, the first step is to acknowledge it and just to say, all right, I'm feeling stressed, I'm feeling overwhelmed. What am I doing right now that's causing this to happen? Am I moving too quickly? Am I trying to be Superwoman or Superman and accomplish everything in the world? How can I bring some awareness and intentionally slow down? The second thing you can do as well is ask yourself this question: why am I rushing? Let me repeat that. Why am I rushing? Now, this is a very simple question. And it might seem too simple, but it's also very important because we all have things in our lives that fill up our days. And some of those things actually are important things, right? Family events, family gatherings, a work deadline. But we sometimes, at least me, I can't speak for you, but for me, sometimes I've noticed that I can get those important things mixed up with the non-important things, right? Like I'm rushing to get to the grocery store. I'm rushing to do my laundry. I'm rushing to get the dishes done. I'm rushing for these things that, granted, are necessary, but they may not be as high importance as I'm rushing to make it to my daughter's recital on time, right? That would be an important thing that you want to show up on time for. But rushing through the day-to-day tasks, the mundane tasks, are not really as important. And I'm going to get there in a second of why. So asking yourself this question of, why am I rushing right now? Why do I feel this need to get this done quickly? Now, if there's a cause and effect, if I get this done quickly, I'll have more free time with my family, then okay, that would be a valid thing to want to pay attention to. But here's another thing that I want to throw into the mix when it comes to rushing. Is it going to make a difference if you get it done faster? Now, if it is, then pay attention to that task. That's going to be an important task. If it's not, maybe reassess if you need to be rushing through it or if you need to be doing it at that present time. So, for example, let me go back to laundry because I want to make sure I don't lose you here with the way that we can play around with this concept. Me focusing in and being efficient with a work task is one thing, because when I complete that work task, then I'll be able to have time to go have dinner with friends or see my family or be present with the things around me. Oh, and by the way, foreshadowing, I'm also going to teach you how to be present with that work task. But let's take another task like laundry. Right? So if I feel myself rushing through getting laundry done, right? I've just got to hurry, get it in the wash, push it, push the start button and then rush around and clean up my apartment and do all these things. If I find myself rushing through that task, I get to sit back and ask myself, why am I rushing? Because in reality, my laundry is going to get done, whether I rush through it or I don't rush through it. It's not like I'm not going to do the laundry. And for you listening today, it's not like you're not going to wash the dishes or not going to do the laundry, right? The question you get to ask is, why am I rushing through this task? Because me rushing to get the laundry done and then rushing around my house, I might save myself a few minutes, but is it going to be worth the anxiety and stress? Is the question I want you to get to here. When it comes to the little things that you're rushing through, is that 5 minutes you're going to save, the 10 minutes you're going to save, the 20 minutes you might save, going to be worth the anxiety and the stress that you're putting yourself through in order to get that job done faster? And for those of you listening, I just put faster in air quotes. So is it going to be worth it? Probably not. So there are certain things in your life right now that you can look at and say, why am I rushing through this task? Why do I feel the need to get this done right now? And is this important to do right now? And granted, this would be a whole other podcast in terms of organization and delegation and deletion from your to-do list, but you can start prioritizing all of the things that you're doing by level of importance. And you can also figure out ways to say, all right, I don't really need to be rushing right now to get my gas filled. I don't really need to be rushing to go to the grocery store. I don't really need to be rushing to do my laundry or rushing through my dishes. So finding that perspective is going to be so important because those tasks are still going to get done no matter what. So asking yourself that question, why am I rushing? So now that you've assessed sort of, okay, what tasks are important and what tasks do I get to maybe put later on my list and which ones do I get to slow down and be present with and which ones do I get to pay attention and ask myself, why am I rushing? The next thing you can do is ask yourself, who are you being? So the first question, why am I rushing? The second question is, who am I being right now? So let's take a snapshot of your entire life. Who are you being every single day while you are doing the tasks that you're doing? Are you being someone that is hurried, someone that is stressed, someone that is rushed, or are you being someone that's intentional and connected and present? You get to ask yourself internally, all right, while I'm doing this task, am I so focused on the task itself that I'm forgetting who I'm being? Am I so focused on this to-do list and getting everything done that I'm actually forgetting who I am in the process and who I'm being while I'm doing that task? And so you can start to ask yourself this question because once again, for me, I know that when I get into a state of constantly going, I'm not being present. I'm not being intentional. I'm not being kind. I'm not being aware. I'm just being chaotic and stressed and going all over the place. So it's important to ask this question after the first question of, once again, why am I rushing? The second question is, who am I being right now? And do I like this version of myself? Do I like this person that's stressed out all the time? Do I like this person that's anxious? And how can I shift to focus on who I am being first before I start to do the task? Now let's go back to that work assignment, because remember I said that the work assignment sometimes obviously is really important. And the sooner you get it done, the sooner you can have free time with your family and friends. This is just a made up scenario, by the way, but probably applicable. So if you can get that work assignment done, you can have free time. So it's an important task. However, are you going to get that work assignment done if you hurry and rush through it, or if you focus and you're intentional through it? They're probably both going to get done, but which one's going to be the more fulfilling and more effective way of getting this done? A hurried and rushed job or a focused and intentional job? So when you are doing things that are important, you once again get to ask yourself, who do I want to be while I'm doing this? Okay, I want to be someone focused. I want to be someone detailed. I want to be someone present. I want to be someone who's efficient with my time and the things that I'm doing. None of that means rushed, and none of that means stressed, and none of that means hurried. So take a step back when it comes to all of the important things that you're doing and say, okay, who am I being right now? When you go to your kid's soccer game, are you being present? Who are you being, or are you being distracted? So asking yourself this question of who am I being right now? Who am I being is going to be so incredibly important to assessing, okay, I'm being someone who's stressed and anxious potentially. How can I shift that and be somebody different right now? How can I intentionally tell myself that I'm going to be someone different than the version that I don't really want? That's going to be so important. Now, when it comes to staying present, which is probably the most important thing that all of us really want at the end of the day, is to be present with the work that we're doing, to live in the moment, to be able to enjoy ourselves, to be able to share and connect with the people around us, the ones we love, the people we care about. I want to teach you an NLP technique today around association and dissociation that I think is really going to support you. And it's a very, very simple technique. Now, if you're not familiar with association and dissociation, it's very simple. It is to either attach or associate, or detach, disassociate. Now, if you have been in this constant state of go, 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 chances are you've already detached emotionally, mentally. You are checked out, not intentionally, but you're just checked out of a space because you're in this state of go, 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 that you're missing the things around you. You're not attaching, you're not associating to the things around you. So I want you to think about a movie right now. Think about watching a movie. Now, you can either watch the movie from far away, which would be dissociating, or you can pretend that you're in the movie and you're living in the movie, which would be more of an associate and attachment. So when it comes to being present, if you can think about this movie technique and say, okay, wait a minute, am I watching this movie from far away right now? Or am I actually living in the movie? Am I actually allowing myself to feel the feelings and feel the excitement and the presence of being around people I love, and feeling the focus and the joy of being in the task that I'm doing? That is going to support you so much in being present in your day-to-day life. So you can ask yourself, okay, Am I watching this or am I living it? And if you're not living it, then you can shift that mindset around to say, all right, I'm going to start to pretend that I'm living in a movie right now with all the things that I'm doing. I'm living in the movie. What's happening next? How can I be present with the people around me? And this is a great way just to touch base with yourself and ask yourself, am I being present? Am I living in the movie? And it's a great way to remind yourself to then shift into being in the movie, right? Shift into actually being at the soccer game, actually being in the meeting, actually being with your loved one on a romantic date or at the movies, who knows, right? Being present is so important. So this little tool of asking yourself, am I in the movie or am I watching the movie, is going to be really, really important to helping you to stay present. Now, let's do a quick recap because I know we covered a lot today in a very short amount of time. Trying to keep these episodes to under 30 minutes so that you can get in and out and get on with your day. But I'm glad that you're here with me today. So once again, if you find yourself in this state of constantly rushing, the first question is to assess all the things that you're doing, and then ask yourself this question: why am I rushing? Why am I rushing this task? Why am I rushing this assignment? And do I need to be rushing? And is it important or is it not important? The second thing you can do, once again, is ask yourself, who do I want to be while I'm doing these tasks? Who do I want to be today while I'm out and about? Who do I want to be? Make sure you're focusing on who you're being before you start to begin the work and start to begin your day and get into all of the doing of the day. And then the last question, once again, is the movie technique you can ask yourself when it comes to staying present. Am I watching the movie or am I living in the movie? And by the way, my friend, once again, you want to be living in the movie in order to be present. So I hope these tools supported you today. I know it was a lot crammed together, but I really genuinely believe this will be a great start for you to intentionally tell yourself to slow down, intentionally tell yourself to be present. You get one shot at this life here, unless I'm mistaken. You get one shot at living. It's okay to take your time and slow down. Don't forget to check out the description below. We have a free guide for you today. And remember that you are one of a kind and absolutely worth it. And I will see you next time.